We know how the adage goes, right? Yesterday, I watched as a story unfolded. Wait till you see the amount of reports that came out of this news story involving a semi truck, an accident on I 70, and everything that happened from it. Welcome to the show today, folks. I got a lot packed in today's show. In addition to that, a man from Texas was driving a tractor trailer in Barbersville, West Virginia, when he collided with a passenger car and something terrible went wrong. I'm going to fill you in on that as well. Finally, I'm going to call out some critical issues present in the news piece, all linked down below, by the way, and ask what we are doing to ensure that trucking remains respected and a safe profession. All that and more coming up today on Frontlines.
Shall we begin?
From the trenches of trucking experience and a passionate heavyweight in the Truth in Broadcasting Network. Welcome to Truckin' City News Frontline Podcast, hosted by the most opinionated broadcaster on YouTube, Bossman.
That's right, folks. You heard it here. The El Rushbo of trucking news. I humbly take that approach because, believe me, I'll tell you what, I'm doing something with this show that nobody else has done before. Hi, howdy ho, guys. I'm Boss Man. In case you're joining the show for the first time and you have not met me, your host and guide through this view of trucking news. Welcome to the front lines, a place where you are welcome in to sound off on trucking news with no agenda. My friends, that is what we have here. We have a show whereby you can feel free to sound off on your views of what trucking news should be, should represent, and should be in these days. We are the United States of trucking. It's something I plainly came up with to illustrate the fact that we need unity. We don't need a union. We don't need a brotherhood, albeit I call that. But together, we are worth more than we are alone. It's a place where your voice is mattered and is backed by what I humbly call the Truth in Broadcasting promise. And that is to make trucking great again. This is the only podcast where you can join the voices of many. I welcome you aboard. Be part of the show. Comment in the chat. Let me know how you've heard of our show. If you're the first time watching, let me know what you think. Be sure to hit the like button. And when you hear this sound, ding, 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 that means our studio lines are open. Call in, talk to me, ask the panel questions, engage us, make us think, make us hear your voice. If you want to opine on anything we talk about, click the link underneath, join the show. It is a StreamYard link I have set up especially for you guys. If you want to be part of the show, be on the panel and make your voice be heard, whether you want to be on camera, be incognito as a phone call, whatever, go ahead and do it. When the studio line's open, our number is 860-785-3547. Again, wait on the sound. Ding, ding, ding. When you hear that sound, the studio lines are open and we will be taking calls. We will take your opinion and run with it. And together, we will make trucking great again. Become part of the United States of trucking, the only place where your citizenship matters. Today, I want to open with a feature, a small feature to basically remind you this show is here for you. And the best time for new beginnings is now. Every time I bring this show up, I am going to bring up an expression, a quote, something that gives you a moment of pause. Think, inspire, make you better, make you more whole. I used to do it with trucking history. I may bring that back. I haven't quite decided yet. But this right here, I think represents it. A cool picture, a neat idea, a concept most of us don't ever think about. But moving on, we are the show that all others can't be. Welcome to the chaos, as it were. Got a few friends that are engaged in just that. An idea that really more people need to jump on and be aware of. And I welcome it. It's a friendly competition. 3 guys have together endeavored to make life better for them and hopefully send a message and get your involvement. One of them will be joining us soon. Most of them are on the panel today. But when it comes down to it, from truck stop jumping jacks to grumpy dancing workouts and even playing in traffic, these fellas are proving you can stay fit no matter where the road takes you. And trust me, guys, you won't want to miss the laughs and the friendly jabs along the way. These guys are here with us today to give us the skinny on their progress and some of their war stories. Well, let me start it off.
Is I don't plateau in the month of August because I gotta beat these guys. So I'm gonna replace a lot of meals that would normally be greasy, nasty truck stop food with these meal replacement shakes. Now I have to give credit to my wife for this one. She makes these at home and they're very good. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna start off with the meal replacement shakes. I'm gonna continue doing that. And then as I get closer to the middle of the month, I'm gonna start ramping up how many steps I'm taking, doing a couple of, jumping jacks, whatever I can do to get my heart rate up.
I'm gonna confess I suck at talking to a camera. Screw it. It's gonna be what it is. I decided the month of August, from the 1st to 31st, I'm gonna lose weight. I do not like losing challenges. Anybody who knows me knows I am a very motivated person. I decided that I'm doing carnivore diet. Getting some steps in right now. As you can see, Kenley 95 is over there. That's where I spent the night last night.
I've got Midlife over here, and I've got Driving with John. Them are the 2 I'm in competition with, and I am going to beat them. And this challenge to me means a lot due to the factor that I have a lot of health issues. I'm going to beat Midlife and Driving with John, one way or the other.
These 3 guys have made it their mission to be the best they can be. And what's better is they've actually engaged the audience to come along for the ride. So let's get a perfect perspective from all these guys. Right now, 2 of them are with me. Another will be joining us shortly. And let's see how they view their progress. So welcome to the show, my friends. We got Grumpy, Highway Junkies, Midlife Trucker. Grumpy, I'll go to you first if you're willing and able to talk. And let me know, are you feeling still as froggy as day one, or are you kind of, like John was saying in his, plateauing? How are you doing with your weight loss?
Well, honestly, I don't know where I'm at right now because, like I said, I only weigh in once a week because I'm only home on the weekends.
Mhm.
So don't really know if I've lost any or gained any. I'm hoping it's a loss is what I'm hoping. But, time will tell. I got a few more days before I get home and can do that.
Right.
And let's hope for the best. I'm hoping I've lost some weight. That'd be wonderful.
I'm wishing nothing but the best for all 3 of you. Midlife, you want to give me an update? I've not really kept up with your videos because I've been so busy doing everything with this show and my daily life. So I will apologize. I will catch up. But if you'd like to give an update to the audience and let everybody know how you feel things are going, and any words of inspiration for the audience would certainly be well appreciated at this point.
After this show, I'm going to go ahead and record the video. Kind of already got it written in my head.
Mhm.
got to get today's vlog up,
Mhm.
and everybody will get an update on where I'm at and how badly these other two guys are going down.
I'm sure John would certainly have a lot to say about that. He'll be joining us shortly. I think he's kind of busy trying to manipulate maneuver, so we're going to give him a little bit of break. But any good words for the audience in terms of them contributing or maybe giving them some inspiration? What's your thoughts there?
Anybody who wants to can jump on board, but remember, driving with John has got to go down. Now, Frank, I'm sorry, Frank, you're just a casualty along the way, because John talks.
Oh well.
So I got to win.
No matter what, we are all winners. Even if we don't get the highest number, even if we don't get the best result, we are all
Smallest
winners.
number.
It's only a number, but at the same time, we're all winners, no matter what the outcome is. And I encourage you in the audience, take your health seriously. Because myself, I've also put in kind of a part of the hat in the game, and I haven't been able to do vlog videos because of my schedule. But I will tell you, I am taking it just as seriously as these guys. I don't have any weight to lose, obviously, but I do have a dog in the fight because I am eating more, and I will let you know that positively is happening. And I got a little bit of video evidence. I will start showing some of that on World of Trucking. If you're not familiar with my other channel, World of Trucking, check it out. I'm going to start something I think of as unique. I'm going to do lifestyle vlogs, and I'm going to say it only that way. But when I start it, I will update everybody along the way. Highway Junkie, what do you think of all this, my friend? You are just sitting there, not like really saying a whole lot. But you, I think, you've got just as much at stake. Your health means as much to you as it does everybody else. So, I mean, what have you got to say to these guys?
I wish them all the best. I mean, I'm rooting for all three of them, but like they said, only one can win it, but and at the same time, they'll all three be winners because they'll be a lot more healthier than what they are now.
That is so true. I mean, and at the end of the game, it's not about the number. It's not about. Alls it is it's our effort to get back to everybody, giving them the attitude, hey, you can do it. Because could just as easily be you guys out here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, want to welcome a few people in. WCF Invader in the house today, watching the show from wherever he's at. I want to give him some credit because he put up yesterday an article that basically inspired the stories we're covering and talking about today. So I appreciate the updated news article, WCF Invader. I do thank you guys, everyone in the audience. If you decide and find it cool, you can contribute and send us an email at thatstruckingnews@outlook.com. thatstruckingnews@outlook.com. Let me know your thoughts on either current stories or events we're talking about, or just anything in particular that you find is important to you and you want us to talk about on the show. That's how I get my news covered. That's how I keep you guys in the know. Mike B is also with us. His driver's got their flip-flops stuck in his steering wheel. Must be talking about the story we're about to opine on. Do stand by. It is going to be some lively conversation. I have a different take on this story, so do let me know in the comments if you think I'm way off my rocker. Poet's in the house. God bless him from Northern Alberta. God bless you, my friend. Keep it safe and keep it real up there. Let me see, right down to my toes. Okay, God bless you. Mr. Cut, folks, Full Send Express. I don't know, you're talking about the gentleman involved in the accident. Trucking with Old Snapper in the house. Good evening. That's the name. I follow you, my friend. You got some good conversation and some great anime effects. I love his videos. Mr. Cut, folks, says my wife makes me food for the week. That's a good wife, and she really loves you and cares. Truck stops don't give us healthy options and treat us like we're ATMs. Yes, that is something I will definitely consider putting up for future storyline. I think that is ridiculous that they do that. However, that being said, I am going to move on to story number one, if you guys don't mind. I have my design on exactly what happened. Yesterday, a story unfolded on another show I do. It is not as well timed and regular as Truckin' Frontlines, but the story nonetheless was warned me by WCF Invader, put up in the comments. I was initially intrigued by just the way it was reported. But then as I started looking around, I noticed there was a lot of different opinions flying around from different people in the media. Local news media had probably the most accurate thing to say, which was that, the semi truck crossed the median after losing control. That was the way the initial report came out. Then others came out saying that it was because a wheel fell off. Others also opined on it, saying that a car caused it, swerving off the shoulder. There was just a huge amount of misinformation floating around in just the first 3 or 4 hours. So what I took to doing is I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to actually pull it up and see for myself what happened. I took 30-second clip of the dash cam from the opposing driver in the eastbound lane, and I actually studied it and looked at it. And then I slowed it up and looked at it again. And it appeared to me, and I may be wrong, and everybody on the panel, hold off on saying anything. Just let's watch the clip as it unfolded from the point of the dash cam and tell me what you think. As the truck approaches in regular speed, and now in slow motion, as the camera pans over and steadies, you can just barely see off to your left what's going on. It appears, and I'll continue replaying this for just a moment because I want to replay this one more time and point out an obvious thing here. There's a car in your lower left as we speak right now that's got severe right-hand side damage. Okay? And if you look as the camper passes through the viewfinder on the far right, you can just barely make out what appears, boom, right there. That car is swerving over from the drive lane, not the passing lane. Now, as it goes, of course, bounces off the semi, which then goes into the median. So it appeared initially to me as I started looking at this, oh, wow, we've got a car that caused an accident. That's my original thought on the whole thing. Now, whether that's actually the true point of view, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of reports drawn. Investigators are going to come up. But WCF Invader also put in the comments the updated story. I believe it was right here, that story link. And I have since learned some interesting facts. I understand Midlife, you have yourself learned interesting facts as well. And what do you know that can update us about this whole thing?
Okay, first, the two people who were killed is Cindy Helms, 54, of Rockwood, Tennessee, and Melvina Collin, 84, of Broomfield, Colorado. They were in the U-Haul that was going the other direction.
Right.
They were completely innocent in this, had nothing to do with it, and they were driving down the road.
Right.
The driver was Walter Montejo. He's 26, of Southgate,
driver of the semi, I presume.
Driver of the semi.
Mm-hmm.
He's been charged vehicular manslaughter. Shouldn't have been on the road, period. Driver's license suspended for a DWI.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, he's had some violations. They weren't anything serious. The company's a single truck carrier. They've had 4 inspections, 3 of which resulted in violations, 1 of which was an out of service. So he shouldn't have been on the road to begin with. But what we're looking at when we look at that video, we're not necessarily seeing the start of it. That car that was hit just came onto the interstate at that entrance.
Right.
What we're not seeing,
Stadium Road entrance, I believe.
Just prior to that, the truck signaled a lane change, started to come over because it had cleared a vehicle, and didn't see the BMW, collided with the BMW, and then went over to the left and went back. And that's when the car went into the side that we start seeing. We didn't
Right.
see that the car had already been struck once. And this is
Right.
verified by 2 witnesses that were behind it. Now, the
Mhm.
witness that talked about the one was in the Stanley steamer truck. If you watch the video, you see it pull over. The witness
Right.
that was coming forward, it was in the blue semi,
Right.
and his name is Caldwell, and he said he saw the wheel come off. That makes sense also because if you look at the timing of it, coming around that curve, that's what he would have seen. He would not
Mhm.
have seen any initial collision because the curve's in the way. And
Right.
also, are we really looking at everything in front of us until all of a sudden there's a big noise?
Yeah, or a lot of smoke. Yeah.
Yeah, but he has now been charged.
Mhm.
Failure to stay within his lane, speeding 11 to 15 miles over. And if you watch that video, he's driving faster than hell.
Yeah,
In
it
addition
was
to
kind of
that,
hard to tell whether he was going faster than everybody else. But then, when you're talking about a zoomed in perspective, it is really hard to tell. So it's
and he got 2 counts of first-degree involuntary manslaughter, 1 count of second-degree assault, and misdemeanor driving while revoked.
yeah.
Driving while revoked is only a misdemeanor in Missouri. Go figure.
Well, my heart and sympathies go out to those that were injured or negatively affected somehow. Losing somebody over an accident like this is never an easy thing. So my condolences and my heartfelt sympathies. I will say this though, I can't really opine on that which I don't know. I mean, I know now more than I did. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate your diligence to looking up the facts and bringing them to the audience. I don't have anything other than just add pre-trip. Everyone out there yesterday was real quick to think the wheel coming off the semi was the cause. Come to find out it wasn't. The wheel came off when it slammed against the wall, obviously. So that really goes a long way to assumptions. I mean, it's real hard. But, 2 things come out of this accident. 1, pre-trip. Major important thing. 2, slow it down, people. I don't care what you're hauling back there. It is not worth it. Not your life, not the lives of other people around you. 5 miles under is more than adequate. You will get there no faster than the guy traveling 5 miles over. You may think you are, but you're not. We all get the same place at the same time. Couple of comments I want to highlight here. Poet opining on the weight loss. He says, I used to stand 5'10", weigh 145. That section of my spinal disc turned into 5'8". I still need to gain some weight. Well, brother, I'm right there with you. I'm shrinking too. At 50, I think I am. My wife won't admit to it, but she says I am. Right side, I see it on the left-hand side. Yeah. I mean, that car was spinning. It was just completely way out there. Singles, home runs, new face in town. Hey, don't know if you're just grabbing everybody's channel, but thank you for that. Welcome to you. Excellent reporting. I've been trying to stay on top of this. I've had a very hard time finding accurate information. They were contradicting witness statements too. I know I saw one this morning from a fella who was apparently caught up behind the accident and also recounted his stories. That's why I say pre-trip, because that was one thing. A fella named Tyrone, I believe, also got caught up in the mayhem because he was behind apparently the semi that got struck over the wall. So it is certainly never friendly to either be in an accident or be witness to one. LJ, what do you think? I mean, good Lord. Have you ever witnessed something like that? I mean, do you have something you want to add about this? I mean, what do you think when you see something like
Some
that?
people don't realize when they're doing their pre-trip, it's not just on the truck.
Mhm.
The driver apparently was unfit to drive the truck anyway if he didn't have a valid license.
Good
That's part
point.
of
Good
pre-trip.
point. Good point. Kudos to you for making that point.
If he's not fit to drive, then he wouldn't have been in that spot in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, it goes part and parcel of some of the reporting I was talking about yesterday in the Journal. We wouldn't have to make some of the rules we have if we didn't have the rules in place that are really screwed up. But that's a whole nother story. I digress. Grumpy, I got no respect for somebody that doesn't want to follow the rules. But that being said, I mean, if you shouldn't be behind the wheel, I mean, what do you think? I mean, you think these people need to look a little bit more carefully at who they're hiring?
I definitely do. You know, I mean, and then how do we know they hired him? I mean, he may have been under another authority or something like that of his own. He was basically covering up. But at the same time, I look at it as you don't have a license. I don't care. You shouldn't be behind the wheel of anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just no.
Yeah. Poet says yes. With any
he-
accident or
he was
incident,
a-
all statements
was
from
an
witnesses
independent
will all be
operator.
different. Say again, Tom. I talked over you.
It was a single truck carrier. He's a single truck carrier. It's not a
Yeah. Clearly, a lot needs to be done to, I think, more or less qualify these people. It's real easy to get into the system and get lost, and then voila,
too.
next thing you know, something happens and it's too late. So, that's
I
just
mean,
that.
look at it. They're allowing 18-year-olds to be able to drive these trucks now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that we're getting on. Don't push it. Don't push it. I got that
Sorry.
story covered. Story number 3. I've got my
bad.
opinions there too. Yeah, so we'll see if we can't get you a different link, Poet, but we'll give you something that if you can find a way to maybe get it to him differently. But yeah, these links, probably because Canadian provinces have blocked it. I don't know. That's usually your problem up there, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's move on to one other thing here, real quick. I want to opine on yet another story, which I think is kind of similar, but a little bit tragic. Okay. Out of Barboursville, West Virginia, a fellow was involved in an accident in Barboursville, West Virginia, that resulted in a hardworking trucker getting involved in a collision with another car. That by itself wasn't bad, but he tragically lost his life. The truck driver did, after pulling over with an aim to get out and check on the motorist he'd struck, and then was struck by a pickup truck on Interstate 64 in or near Barboursville, West Virginia. The incident unfolded after the collision, where he gets out, wants to go check on them, and what's all too common is drivers aren't paying attention to what's going on the road in front of them, and they don't move over. When you see someone with their hazards on in the right lane, slow it down. Even if you're half the recommended speed, I don't care. Slow it down. Okay? Dwayne Oshner, a trucker from Texas, is now no longer with us because someone did not slow down and move over. That's a simple but yet very effective way of keeping your butt alive. The man was 64 years old, and he could have went home that night. All we had to do was just simply slow down and move over. What do you think, guys? What's your thought when I read a story like that? You're driving down the road, you see a guy pulled over. Could be an accident, may not be. Could be a guy working on something, to do with his air hoses. I mean, yeah, he's going to pull over far enough, but it's also your responsibility driving down the road to avoid hazards. What do you think, LJ?
Exactly. I mean, it's common sense. I mean, in most states, it's a state law to move over.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
I mean, it don't take but 2 seconds to move slide over a little bit and let them work, or just move over a little bit.
Yep. It's pretty simple. Grumpy, real quick before I bring somebody on from backstage, you got a opinion on that? I mean, 64 years old, he's no longer here.
Well, that can happen to any of us drivers out there. And let me tell you what, the fact of it is, you see something that's on the side of the highway, try to move over if you can. If you aren't able to get over, because some states you can't, slow down. Slow down to where you're at a safe speed.
Yep. Simple. Slower you are, the more people around you have the chance to understand what you're doing and react in kind. Welcome to Driving with John. What is your thought today, my friend? You can start wherever you like, being the late arrival you were.
I do apologize. I don't know what we've talked about so far. I was sidelined with something that I had to take care of, but I'm here now. Did we
Well,
already
I will.
discuss the
I
media
will.
getting that accident wrong?
Yes, sir. I will take one moment just for you and for the audience sake, and I will briefly update everyone in the audience. Our first story was about a news event that occurred and unfolded on yesterday's journal discussion about an accident in Missouri whereby a fellow was sent over the median. We have since found out some truths, but it was initially reported wrong, and we have since cleared up some of those misunderstandings. I even showed some accident footage that I slowed down, and we've briefly opined here. But being that we had you not here with the initial report, I will give Midlife an opportunity briefly to give you the information he gave me, because it's way too much, that we have found out since the initial report came out. And what would that be, Midlife?
Just briefly, the guy who, the truck driver is a 26-year-old from California, Walter Mendejo, has been arrested. He's been charged 2 counts of manslaughter, 2 counts of vehicular assault, driving with revoked license. His license revoked for DUI. Shouldn't have been behind the wheel to begin with. He's also charged with speeding 11 to 15 over.
Right.
Witnesses through witnesses, the police determined that he struck the silver car prior to what you're seeing in the video.
Yeah. And
then came around the curve, and the car by that time was being drug into him, and he was already losing a wheel.
Right.
So
Now,
he is charged with it, and he's the only one charged. He is in the hospital right now, not the jail, though.
yeah, obviously. And
He was standing next to the truck at the scene of the accident with his headset still on while they were working on it. But now he's in the hospital. So,
Yeah. Well, as would happen. Now, John, we noticed yesterday there was a myriad of reports, even so much as the report that WCF Invader made me aware of, that basically had it all wrong. They had a number of people saying a bunch of different things. And there for a while, there was a very spirited backstage debate going on between you and Midlife, even before all of this came up. What were your thoughts then? And I must ask you, what are your thoughts now?
Well, if he had a revoked license, he shouldn't have been behind the wheel. But all of that being said, I'm not even gonna go too deep into this, other than eyewitness statements and so said and so video that we see 100%.
Yeah.
Whether he was supposed to be on there in the truck or not, the car caused the accident. From what
that
we
is see. Abundant from a perspective that's abundantly obvious, but other eyewitnesses seem to opine on different facts.
You're not seeing the accident from the beginning.
That's what I was getting to say.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand
you're getting
that,
one perspective.
And I'm not saying I did, but all of that being said, from the video that I saw and that WCF Invader did send us, it looked like the car's fault. And the problem that I had was the news automatically reported as first he rear-ended the car, but the car had no rear-end damage, so that obviously wasn't true. And then that he oversteered, which also was not true. The problem that I had was that they didn't point out at all that anybody else was to blame other than the trucker.
Right.
The trucker. And this one was so...
Turn down your player, buddy. Got to turn down your player, poet.
Oh, this one was so obvious that it was caused by that car that it bothered me extremely, because we already get a bad slant in the media. We already get a bad slant with the public. We don't need any more help than what we already have.
Right, exactly. Well, obviously today's show is timed a little differently than I wanted it to be. So we have a caller on the line. Somebody we're all very, very, very familiar with, from northern Alberta. I'm sure he's willing to opine on something I have sitting on the screen as we speak. What took Canada so long to institute a move over slow down law?
No, hang on. It's not Canada, okay?
Okay.
We have 10 provinces. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories,
Okay.
right? Now, being on the plains in the west, actually decided to follow the seventh laws. So we are required to slow down 60 kilometers an hour, which is about 35, 40 miles an hour,
Okay.
okay, on the two-lane highway, and to move over and the same speed limit on the four-lane highway.
Mm-hmm.
So what took Alberta so long? Who the hell knows? We're rednecks up there.
There's a lot of states down here that are just now getting with that kind of move over thing. State of Tennessee, I think, just recently, within the last 2 years, made it a mandatory thing, whereas before that, not, because they had 2 laws that they were focused on just prior to me moving out of the state. One was move over, the other was left lane. So those are no longer big issues, but more states are adopting that. So it just makes sense. It saves lives.
You see?
Yep. So
After what I just heard,
Mhm.
you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Overdue. And I think 40 miles an hour on a four-lane highway
Mhm.
when a driver, car driver, cop, whatever,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
That's still too fast.
It is.
We
It is.
should be mandated down to 25 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. It would definitely make a huge difference. It would definitely make a huge difference in lives cost and lives saved. I think so. So
I
definitely,
think so. I mean, I'm not perfect.
No
Never
one is.
claim to be,
no one is.
you know. Well, I have my own theory of perfectness, but I'm not going to discuss that on this channel.
Amen to that. Yeah.
I will send to you privately.
Look forward to that conversation, my friend. I'm going to move on. I certainly appreciate your calling, contributing to the show, my friend. You do everything you can to keep Canada safe, and we'll do everything we can to do our part down here. My friend, I appreciate you contributing.
Thank you, sir.
God
Have
bless.
a good night, all you guys.
God bless and be safe.
Stay safe.
All righty, my friend. We are definitely talking today about safety on the highway, and that was an opine moment from Northern Alberta. We welcome you, your opinion, and those of everybody else in the audience. If you want to call the show, go ahead, 860-785-3547, 860-785-3547. Lively discussion today. Any last closing thoughts to anyone on the panel? You may opine, give me your thoughts, and we're going to move on to the last story.
Yeah, I would like to say a couple more things.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
So going back to that accident again, people, I've been watching news story after news story about it, and there's been a lot that's been said, but let's be honest and clear here. If you just look at the footage and take all the outside factors that Midlife graced us with, which I haven't verified, but I'm sure he's got his sources. If you just look at the video, it points out who's at fault from the
Right.
video. Not if something happened before, not if the guy didn't have a license, none of that. Now,
Right.
a lot of the reports were talking to eyewitnesses and all this. Okay, let's be honest and let's be sincere about this, guys. Eyewitnesses, honestly aren't the most dependable ones because they
They
get it
always,
wrong all the time. A little
yes.
fact about myself that most people don't know: I went to school to be a cop. And the
Hmm.
first thing they tell you is when you get an eyewitness statement is only about half of what they tell you actually happened. And that's because
There's
your own
always,
biases, your own view, your own
it, I
perspective
was just
comes
going to
into
say,
everything.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
always a
yeah.
bias in it, yes. So
And then
I
on
think a
top of
lot of
that,
that also resides in the news media. Do you not think? Do you not agree?
100%. But I'm just saying, like even the average person driving down the highway sees things at a different perspective than you might, because
Right,
they
right,
have their own life experiences, their own, fears, their own everything. Like for
right,
instance, in that circumstance, if you fear a rig, you're going to be looking at the rig like it did something wrong because your natural fear is going to tend away. Not that you
yeah,
do it purposely or, trying to be a bad person or nothing like that. It's just a
right.
natural human instinct.
It
So
is,
I
it
just
is,
wanted to
it
say
is.
that because a lot of people were going out and, some people were trashing the trucker, some people were supporting the trucker. And honestly, if he didn't have a good license and he lost his license, it's on him at that point. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, it's 100% on him because he shouldn't have been. All of
Yep,
that being said,
yep.
I was going off of the video, which 100% doesn't vilify him. It actually shows he did the right thing as far as the video says. So,
And where I'm concerned, my whole purpose for even opining on both the story here and the one listed in Barbersville is simply to highlight one important fact. And that is we in the media, and I say we because I'm a media personality. I consider myself a media personality, and I consider myself a rather unique one at that. But we in the media always jump to be the first on scene, whether it's out there on the internet itself, or actually in the case of on scene on I-70 at the moment the accident happened. We're so caught up with this, I gotta be first. I gotta be first. That a lot of times what John just talked about winds up doing more harm than good. The end result being is that we as truckers wind up being trashed beyond recognition and wind up with an image so tarnished it's beyond reproach we can't fix. It's my hope by running this show, by running this platform, and giving you and everyone else on the internet a truthful and honest and hopefully safe place to come to say what's on your mind and actually talk to someone who will stop, take the moment necessary, get the facts, and actually look at the story the way it's supposed to be. I welcome you in. Everyone, everywhere, I don't care. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, fellow truckers everywhere. Give them this URL, truckincitymedia.com. Let them come find us. Let them be part of the movement to make trucking great again. I want to opine on one more story, an article I spotted yesterday. I think deserves an excellent and immense amount of attention. We have concerned people around the world, not only in the media, but in the trucking industry as well. I mean, folks, it's become abundantly obvious we have a lot of work ahead of us. Okay. I don't have any visuals to go on this, so just bear with me if you will. Younger CMV drivers, particularly those aged 19 to 20, are 6 times more likely to be involved in fatal crashes than their elder counterparts. People like yourself and me, we have many years of experience. Let's talk about work ethic. There's a fundamental difference between someone who's just got behind the wheel yesterday and received their permits and paperwork than to us people that have been here and we spent decades honing our skills, learning the ins and outs of our rigs, of the industry, and of the craft we want to make perfect. Now, despite their inexperience, there's a push to get more younger drivers behind the wheel because of a so-called shortage. And who's pushing this agenda? Large trucking companies. Okay. There is an article from News Channel 9 that I have linked in the description of this podcast talking about a product of their editorial staff and highlighting issues and concerns. A guy named Zach Callahan is highlighted in this article from the Truck Safety Coalition, who has raised valid points, I guess, against hiring the younger drivers, and warns that younger drivers, despite their training, are still significantly more prone to these accidents. And he calls for more stringent standards and oversight to ensure that these programs don't compromise an already bad reputation for trucking itself. Let's not forget how often semi-truck drivers are unfairly blamed, as in the case of my first two stories, for accidents on the road. Every little mishap, every little thing, minor collision, fender bender, whatever. Who gets the finger? We do. The truck driver. We are the constant scapegoat that gets pointed to every step of the way. And if yesterday's story doesn't highlight it, for all good reason, obviously, it's time to recognize most of us guys, we're highly skilled. We take seriously the job we do. All right. Meanwhile, all whole time we're hiring these younger people. Our industry image is going to hell. We're worried about job security. The more and more young people and the more and more automation they put in, how likely are we to lose jobs? Don't know, because we don't know the real agenda. Are we going to sit here and assume, like everybody else, what the real cause is? No, we're actually going to do the best job we can, and we're going to make it the best we can. So first, it's the actual facts, then it's the reputation. Look, driver shortage, it's critical. I get that. Everybody's got their opinion. But we need to tread carefully on how we address it. Putting these younger guys out here and not adhering to the safety standards that help us avoid what happened yesterday, we're in for some doom. We're for some doom. I'm going to say it the way I originally thought, because I'm winging a lot of this, just talking points. It's time to stand up and band together. The United States of trucking, I mean it. It's a good thing. We need to actually demand rightful standards, better quality, more training, longer training, better training. You're going to put these younger guys out here, let's make sure they know what they're doing. Let's put a probationary period. Let's actually put our head together and come up with ideas and solutions that actually make the industry safer. And that's my opinion. I'm not going to repeat it, but I think it's widely known. We're the first ones called out on the carpet when we make mistakes. So that being said, I'll give you the floor on this one, LJ. What do you think of my opinion on that and the idea that we're still looking to get this Safe Driver Apprentice program going? Come on now, let's get safer. What do you think?
I hope it never happens.
Well, it is.
I agree with you.
It is happening.
I mean, why would we put a 19-year-old in charge of an 80,000-pound vehicle going down the road when they could barely keep a 4,000-pound vehicle on the road?
Exactly.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah. I mean, how many times we see?
It's like
how many times we see them causing accidents, and we're supposed to give them a CDL? Yeah.
They're too busy on their phones to be paying attention to the road as it is. Look how many times you go past them or they pass you, and you'll have one guy in the driver's seat, they're on their phone. The person in the passenger, there's the passenger's on his phone.
Exactly.
I mean, it don't make no sense why they're doing that. I mean, me personally, I don't like that idea. I mean, they raised the cigarettes up to 21 years old for them.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are stuck on this whole idea that if they're old enough to serve in the military, carry a gun and defend our country, they're old enough to do a job. We kind of take for granted. But you know what? Like holding a gun, like defending our country, it's a serious job. Treat it that way. I
agree with you.
Think we owe it to the public to take it seriously. Nice thought, nice conversation. I like that. What do you think, Midlife?
I'm sorry, I disagree with you.
Okay.
It does not make anything less safe. Already for decades, an under 21 person can drive from Lubbock to Laredo legally with a CDL.
Okay.
All this did was open up state to state CDL driving. However, they can't go from Indianapolis to Akron. Now,
so are you of the opinion, not to interrupt you, but are you of the opinion that younger drivers are capable of taking as seriously the job as we do?
Well, all the things you asked for, the federal government did. The program had requirements. Okay, a driver can go to Prime at 21 years old. He can get a 3-week class, 4-week class, and finish his PST, get put in a truck with his TNT trainer. His TNT trainer goes to bed. He's got 4 weeks driving, and only 1 week of that was driving. And what's the difference? That isn't allowed under this program. Under this program, the driver who trained him had to have at least 5 years over the road, had to have at least 10 years of holding a CDL, had to be in the passenger seat on duty, and there was a number of hours that they had to have. And I think it was about 8 or 10 weeks worth. So this was going to cause more training. You've said for a long time you wanted more training. And you don't have to worry about the program anyway because it expires next year. The program sunsets.
Like everything else we talked about on the Journal this week, it's nothing more than feel-good propaganda. That being said,
that ends July 2025.
Right. That being said, what I'm raising today is the simple fact that, in my opinion, and if you in the audience feel differently, please opine. I will go through comments in a minute. I believe those individuals younger in age don't have the capability. Now I'm saying this generously, don't have the capability of taking the job as seriously as people like yourself and me. We're older, we have more life experience, we have more upstairs to go on in terms of mentality to be able to handle 80,000 pounds cross country for long periods of time with serious amounts of isolation. So can a 19-year-old do that? No, I don't think so. And that's where I'm stuck, and that's why I'm raising the points I am, because I don't think, yes, they can hold a gun, yes, they can defend our country. No problem with any of that. There's immense responsibility in that. But look at what happened on the road yesterday. Two separate accidents, two separate situations where I think probably, had there been an older person, different set of circumstances, might happen a little differently. I heard John piping up there. You got something to add to this, John?
Yes. Well, the whole argument they can fight in the military and all that stuff. Not that I disagree with that. I do believe that if you can go die for your country, you should be afforded every right of every American adult citizen. That being said, though, they also go through some rigorous training to before they go to take on that kind of responsibility. If trucking had that type of training, I would have much less of an 8-year-old driving a truck. But they don't. They go through a 4-week cupcake training where honestly you just know how to drive a truck, but not out on public roads with people around you. And then
there's a lot you're not.
In a truck with a trainer.
Yes.
Yeah, a truck and a trainer. Now, all of that being said, I was that guy. I went through crappy training. I did all of that, but I was older and more mature, and I took my time, and I talked to a lot of people, and I watched a lot of videos, and I made sure I stayed away from people, and I did everything I had to do to get to where I am now.
Right.
As a 19-year-old of training, willing to take that kind of dedication? That's the question we have to ask. It's not.
And what
are they capable? Yes, they're capable, but are they willing to?
Yeah. What is your answer to that, Grumpy? What do you think? Do you think somebody younger is capable of taking it as seriously in the case John just raised?
Real quick, be honest with you. Training. That's all I got to say to that. Training.
Do you think someone younger is capable of absorbing that? Or do you think it should be left to the older crowd?
Age really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. Maturity does. Therefore, if they're mature and they're understandable, there you go.
There are some young 19-year-olds that probably have more maturity than I do. I'll be honest. But
do you know how many drivers apprentice participates there were? There were 4.
Right.
There were 4 people. Drivers did not want to do this. And like I said, they can already drive in state.
Yep.
And there were only 4 people as of March.
Yep.
When they testified before Congress, and there were 21 carriers approved, and only one of them was a mega, and that was Rail. And guess how many trainees Rail had? 0.
Yep. Exactly. Back to the comments. Fake Trucking pipes in. He says, why is the truck in the left lane, steering wheel holders? That particular comment, I think, is addressed to the first accident we talked about. That truck was clearly not driving in the left-hand lane. He was forced there because of the accident circumstances. But to your point, and to the point WCF Invader makes, dash cams, they save lives, believe it or not, because a lot can be learned from yesterday's accident. And I'm sure that things will probably come out of it. Not without loss of life, unfortunately, but what's that?
He's poking me. That's what he's doing.
that may be true, but
100%.
to that, yeah.
No, it
to
is
that,
because I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of comments of people saying trucks aren't allowed in the left lane. And that all depends on local and state laws. There's a lot of things that go into that. Now, if your local and state laws say they shouldn't be, then they shouldn't be. But that's not true everywhere. And people automatically assume every time they see a truck in the left lane, that's not allowed. And so he's just pushing my buttons because he knows that's my point. It's like, I hate that when I get that comment. You shouldn't be in the left lane. No trucks should be allowed in the left lane.
And he was allowed in the left lane, though.
Yeah,
he was allowed in the left lane, and the speed limit was 55, and it is a construction zone.
Yeah, so not totally a big deal, but I used it to prove a point because WCF Invader brought me the story, and he rounded it out very well by saying it proves we need dash cams. Griff USMC, I actually said your name right. You have to remember with the mainstream media, they follow a narrative and not the four-wheeler's fault. It's always the big mean trucker. Yes. They do that all too frequently, and that's one of the things I'm highlighting today. It has to stop. If it is our fault, God bless it, move on, point it out, let's learn. But if it's not, come on, man, give us the love and respect we deserve. Poet adds, I have 3, getting 2 more. 1 company straight ahead, 2 point. I want it for my mirrors. I'm thinking he's talking about dash cams. The more the merrier. I understand there's quite a few of us drivers out here that have quite a few. Myself, I have 3. I have 1 by the company, and I have 2 I run myself. So I'm well protected. The simulation needs an upgrade. Boy, he's all about poking fun at people. So yeah, so why are we called unskilled labor by the feds? I don't know. That may be how the provinces see it, but I don't think we're unskilled.
No, we are.
I don't.
How much training does it take to become a CDL driver?
Now, a lot more than when I started, because when I started, it was only 8 weeks.
3 weeks and you get your license?
8
4 or
weeks.
5 weeks and you're driving a big truck, right?
Yep.
That's not exactly the same level as somebody who has to go become a journeyman.
Sorry. Midlife, I don't call a profession where I have to involve, or excuse me, let me back up. I don't call a profession where I have to invest $8,500 in my education to get somewhere.
Oh, hold it.
Low skill.
You got it for free.
If I wanted to go through waiting half a freaking year, yeah. I mean, there was a wait list at the time. I wasn't going to wait 6 months for a grant program. So I paid $8,500.
You have to admit, you may be an exception. You may have went to a lot. And there may be a couple other people who've went to colleges to get this. But 99% of the drivers out here went to a mega carrier like I did.
Right.
Went 3 weeks to school and got the keys to a big rig.
Yep. I see it this way.
As somebody who went 4 years of college.
I see it this way. There's 2 differences here, okay? Low skilled or no skilled, no money. Everyone can do it. I can go to a McDonald's tomorrow and get hired on as a burger flipper. That to me is low skill. Okay. When you talk about the extreme, however, let's talk about a 14 or 15 or 16-year Harvard trained, educated neurosurgeon with a master's degree in neuroscience. That's a professional skill. That is something that very few people can do. Now, where do I fall? I fall in the middle of that because you know what? I don't do something for nothing. But at the same time, I don't call what I do no skill. Okay. 8,500, 8 weeks of school. And I still don't know things after 13 years in the business There is skill, my friend. I don't care how you look at it. And the more and more I see media professionals doing what Poet just pointed out, calling us no skill, the more insulted I'm going to be, and the more I'm going to bark back and say, you're full of crap. That's my opinion. Sorry, got me on my soapbox there. I'm sorry. There is just no way it's no skill. What do you think, LJ?
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I spent 20 weeks of school, and then 8 weeks with my trainer. So
Yep.
28 weeks total. So I agree with you. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to move these trucks down the road.
I got you.
And
we have a guy in the background who wants to opine. I guess he just joined the show a little late. I saw him waving at me backstage. I'm sorry. I was flipping around my things here. I'm not the best producer.
Let Little John keep talking.
Yeah. No problem. Keep going.
I mean, like I was saying, I mean, you've got people being pushed out left and right like they're robots out of these 2-3 week mega carriers that Tom's talking about. It's like, what are you learning in those 3 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, I see it as an insult. I mean, no, we have a lot of responsibility, and I can't go into detail with it, but it's not low skill. I'm sorry. I cannot accept that, Fate, you came on here, I'm sure, to stir the pot. Let's have it, my friend.
So maybe I'm watching a different video than everybody else of the accident on I-70. That one right there. It looks like to me, right there, he rear-ended the car.
Okay.
Right.
Watch it again in slow motion.
Right.
Watch in slow motion.
I've watched,
it comes around.
John has sent me this.
Right. See, right
there. It looks
right
like
there.
He rear ends that car.
The way I see it, and what I'm looking at is and I said this at the start of the show, that silver car was prior to our viewpoint in the drive lane or far right lane. Something caused it to swerve
right
out.
lane right there.
Or as Midlife pointed out, may have been coming off the ramp and did not merge correctly. Either way, he started out from the right-hand side of the road and is now.
But can we agree that he hits?
He's in the right lane right there.
Yeah, he's in the right lane as we speak. Watch as it goes forward.
Now go slow.
It is slow motion.
Right there. He drove over the back of the car.
Right. But that car is now in the right, is in the far left lane.
Hell yeah, you got
so he cut him off.
See? Watch that.
Cut him off.
Now he's
Yeah, now he's being pushed over into the right lane, right?
Right. Well, now he's already bounced off the truck. He's already turned sideways and is spinning and skidding sideways. So
I'm just telling you, even from this angle, from what I saw, whether that car was
getting the other thing. You see the yellow van on the very shoulder?
Yep.
I think he was involved too, to some degree.
No, he's a witness. He was not involved. Witness.
No damage to that, but
he was a witness. Stop.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, it's hard to really nail it down. I'm sure there's investigators there and they'll all figure it out. But
I'm just saying, and I'm not picking on truck drivers.
No.
Even looking at that video, I cannot tell you for certain that was the car's fault.
You're right.
I'm not
even Mother Trucker. Even Mother Trucker came up and he gave a similar account. He felt like Mother Trucker even felt like he said in his video, and all I'm going to quote him saying is the truck driver was at fault. And that was all he said. And now
I would be interested
we find
to
out
know
what we did.
How fast you have to be going to literally go over a Jersey barrier.
11 to 15 miles over the speed limit. Speed limit's 55 miles an hour right there.
That's what they finally figured him out.
So the driver was going 11 miles over the speed limit in a
11 to 15
zone.
over, and he had a suspended license for DWI.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call a spade. How is this not the truck driver's fault? He should not have been on the road in the first fucking place.
Single truck carrier, he can do what he wants.
Yep.
We ride it on.
That's a point that I raised earlier. Fate, you were, I mean, dude, get in the show. It's like when we were actually first talking about this, that was the first thing I said, that there are way too many single carriers that get their DOT numbers, get started, get in the system, and then for whatever reason, they lose insurance, they lose this, they lose that, and they're lost in the system. And what are these people going to track them down? No, they're not going to. They're going to continue running under the radar until something like this happens. That's what needs to be fixed. And that's what we need to work on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vic. Go ahead.
And hold on. And then we do a live show talking about how our image is tainted and destroyed and the media is making it look like we are nothing.
Are you trying
what
to
are we
ruin
what
my-
are no, I'm being honest
Are
with
you
you right
trying to
now.
ruin
What the
my
fuck are
fucking
we
year?
doing here? That's 100% the truck driver's fault. 100%.
Every bit. But that's
What's
why I covered it equally. The first one was his fault, but the second one, truck driver was taken out. Did you hear the second one?
I didn't
second
see
one-
the second one.
Well, I didn't show anything, but the story was basically in Barbersville, West Virginia. A truck driver was involved in a collision with a motorist, pulls over, and then as he gets out to check on the motorist he'd been involved in the collision with, a pickup truck coming along, having nothing to do with that accident, runs over the guy and kills the 64-year-old truck driver. You know, that was an unfortunate scenario, and
That's
that
sad.
man lost
That's
his life.
sad as hell.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That
But I
should tell
covered it
you
on both
something.
sides.
Though.
But I covered it on both sides. You know, I mean, just as easily as it can be the trucker's fault, the trucker can be the one that suffers.
I mean,
And my whole point today is, hey, look, we need to take this more seriously. You know, just like the title of the thing says. You know, are we really that crazy? Is it always going to be our fault? No. We need to take it more seriously, and so does the media. LJ, you've been
it's
too
hard.
quiet.
It's hard to get the media on our side
It is.
with bad apples in the tree.
It is.
And
It
I'm
is.
not
Exactly.
blaming. I'm not calling us all bad apples. Okay, that's not
Sure.
what I'm doing. But
No.
for us to sit here and pretend that you talk about united.
Mhm.
Well, we got to do it the same on that end too. Unitedly, or however you enunciate it, we've screwed ourselves by
And we definitely need to turn that around.
situations that have happened like this. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in here or anybody in the chat. I'm just
Yep.
saying, if you want us all to be united under one umbrella, well, that's the bad apples also. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to catch up on comments. I've been sitting here yakking with you and everybody so long, I've kind of gotten behind. So, let me see. Common complaint. So, wasn't sure if the comment was no, he wasn't. Really just scanning through. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. See if we got new people in here. 19-year-old CDL driver, smarter than some of us. So-called. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's a good.
I
way
don't
to
believe
look at
that.
it. What? Well, it isn't. It is indeed possible. I mean, I think what he was responding to was my point earlier. You know, it's one thing to be a young driver and have low training and be a problem, but it's another entirely to actually understand what the makeup of that person is. You know,
I mean,
as
this
I
ain't,
said
this
earlier.
ain't a video game. So,
Well, and that was somebody's point about the simulator, but yeah, 4 weeks of trucking for my CDL and got another month stuck in a truck with a trainer. You're like John. You had the blessing of actually learning something and probably doing it yourself. But good for you. Griff says in Canada, hairstylists need more hours to get their license than a commercial driver. Good point. Yeah, well, I guess a hairstylist is low skilled. I have a lot to say about somebody that
Trim-
considers us no skilled labor. It
trim my
burns my-
beard wrong, you'll find out real quick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Have much experience.
So
Didn't know how to handle.
Can I say something on that?
Go ahead.
Because I really do take a little bit of offense to that as well.
Yeah.
you know, considering not skilled. But the other side of that is, man, pretty soon we're not going to be behind the wheel of a truck. A computer is. You know what I mean?
Many,
So
many years away, but you're right. That's
not
unfortunate.
really. They're already doing it. They're already
Yeah,
doing
but
it.
it won't be. It won't be in the
I'm
time
not.
I've got
I'm
my
not saying
license.
it's over the road,
I don't think it'll be
but
within the next decade.
but they're already doing it.
I know.
And I do believe those computers are the software is like an intelligent thing. It's learning.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yep,
mean? So
it
it
is.
has to learn the skill to get from point
Yep,
A to point B.
yep,
So it is a skill. I'm not
yep,
I'm not saying it's not, but we
yep.
got to be careful, man. We're truck drivers. You know,
We are.
I'm not being rude to
No,
compare us to anything else, doctors, stuff like that. No, man. We're truck drivers. We know how to control a truck.
that we do. That we do. And we definitely have to watch our butts when it comes down to the job, the profession, and the image. My friends, it's all up to us, really. Every day we're out here, we make the decisions. We make the call. I mean, as much as the media says we are as bad as we are, we're doing it to ourselves. We have the power to make that change, and make it we will. I'm going to do something very unusual, and that's I'm going to take a call, even though I'm in the ending portion of my show, because you know what? That's the kind of host I am. So let me bring on somebody that's calling us. Caller, you have a few minutes to make your point. Welcome to Truckin' City News.
How you guys doing?
I'm great. What can I do for you? How you have the floor, my friend.
Oh, I'm just wanting to make a point. About 6 months, well, about almost a year ago, I was doing heavy hauls with modular, and we had a 30-year experienced driver with supposedly heavy haul
Mhm.
pull a modular for 15 miles and drug it flat to the frame. And
Wow.
I've seen 19-year-olds that were smarter than that.
Mm.
So that's my point. So there's young kids out there that are rather smart. Scott's a very good example of it. He's been doing it since he was 19 years old, and he's not had very many accidents unless you count when he was going to see John Wick and he curb stomped his poor truck.
Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
Well, do you want to identify yourself, caller? Because I typically don't.
I'm Griff.
Griff. Okay, that's Griff. Okay.
I've been giving Scott crap about that for a long time.
Oh, okay. I typically don't ask callers their names before I start talking. I'm going to start doing that because I want to know who is getting on my panel and embarrassing the hell out of me. But okay, good call out to Scott there. I appreciate that.
I'm glad that you guys have this type of platform. I've been driving over the road myself for 3 years. I've had several years of experience out in the oil field. A lot of it's common sense.
It is.
I met an older gentleman in his 50s, just got his CDL, but his trainer did not teach him how to back.
Wow.
I learned how to back 15-foot white heaters going down the highway. Then the guy and I was by myself, but they told me watch the wheels, do little bits of motion with the steering wheel. I still oversteer most of the time, but I try most of the time to go by that. It's just what experience and what you get taught.
Exactly. And everybody learns at their own pace.
You can learn a lot in 3 weeks, but you can also learn a lot in 20.
Yep.
But when you go to a 3-week course at a mega carrier, then they just turn you loose and they expect you to run an 80,000-pound piece of equipment in snow and everything.
Right.
I have a favorite game stuff during the wintertime stuff. When I see a truck in the ditch stuff, is it from Canada? Is it some province of Canada? Even though majority of them have experience running in the snow or
Mhm.
California
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
because of the nicer weather.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And everybody's so caught up in this. Got it. Yeah, and everybody's so caught up in this. Got to get it there. I mean, that's got to change too. I mean, I'm not putting my truck in a ditch because of somebody's impatience for me to get the job done. It's just no way to run. So, Griff, I appreciate the heck out of you calling up and showing Fate how it's done. I appreciate that. I'm sure he loves it too. You
Yeah,
guys, I'm sure,
thanks for
probably
calling
know
in,
each other
Griff.
other ways. Yeah, you guys probably know each other other ways than that, but
Well,
yeah.
Griff is a big
one of these days, I hope to meet several of you guys out on the road.
Well,
I
and
probably passed by you a dozen times out on the road as it is anyways, but you just never know about it.
yeah, probably. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Scott?
I just was saying Griff's a big contributor on my channel. I mean, not just my channel, but yeah, he's a big supporter of my channel. So I
All right.
appreciate that, Griff.
Well, Griff, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. I have to wrap up the show. I have a schedule to keep myself. I thank you and the audience. I also thank you for calling our show today. And any last minute thoughts, John? Because you just came back in last minute. I'm gonna wrap it
Yeah,
up.
sorry. Trucking gets in the way of live shows sometimes. My only last thought would be that if you are young and you want to get into trucking, be patient, take your time, make sure you always have space, and stay safe out there, guys.
It's always what has to be first on our list of needs. Be safe, be careful, take the job seriously, because you know what? At the end of the day, you need to go home and you need to account for a job well done. You can't do that if you're 6 feet under. My friends, till the next time we talk more crap about the media getting it wrong, we'll look for you, ask you to be safe, keep it real, and by all means, keep it rolling.